Yeah, I think I've got maybe two different ideas around this. Number one, all your messages should be anticipated, relevant, and timely. If it's relevant to the audience you're sending that to, whether that is an audience of one or your entire database that you want to send it to, is it relevant content that they're going to anticipate? Are you reaching out to them on a regular cadence that they can expect you to be communicating with them? On timely information. We were talking just before all this started around timely events that are happening that are affecting everyone's businesses. I think that's really important, but also just making sure that the message itself is as succinct as possible. Mel, you were talking about how just life is busier here in the US than it is in Europe, where you recently were. And I agree. If you can make every single message be real succinct and follow the same kind of patterns around all of that, I always follow an empathy, value, and call to action. Empathy, there's a problem out there. Value, I can solve that for you. Call to action, here's what I want you to do next. And if whether that is social media, marketing driven content, or one-to-one messages, that kind of thought process is really important in what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that there's certainly, and I want to be careful here because, we have challenges even internally where my reps, we have to try to stagger schedules because they take lunch around the same time and we see a dip, so there's challenges I think that can be more internal versus necessarily external that can skew the numbers. But we've always been a believer in, sell early, sell often. So, a big principle for us, we work with Dale at Mortgage Champions and his team is come in, before you start digging in and waste a lot of time, like get on the phones early. And, we do see a pickup there from reps, sales reps that are really going after it early in the morning, first thing. It's important because in our world, speed to lead is critical. And you have to be prospecting, consistently. So I have different trends with different loan officers and different mortgage coordinators, to be honest with you, that maybe perform better at certain times of the day. I think one of the tactics and one of the areas where we've seen a big lift is off peak. I think a lot of teams, we're not that big, 60-ish sales reps, and we got a lot of leads coming in every day. So a thing that drove me crazy for years is, like 9 to 5, we're pretty strong. And we've got a few people that would come in and we'd have some weekend shifts, but you get past 6, 7 o'clock, where a lot of the West Coast, I'm in the Midwest, are just getting home from work, and our numbers were falling off a cliff. Engagement was terrible. Conversion rates were bad. And you end up in this spot where you're like, hey, there's a lot of really good leads that we want to be purchasing and generating and working during these hours. But at the same time, you can't make your people work until, 10 o'clock at night. So I think a tactic that we've, really leaned in on is, is being able to just cast a bigger net to the sales floor, where an example would be, we have leads coming in off peak now, and I may not have my entire sales team here in the office, but we distribute those leads out through Botsplash, where we're shooting out an initial intro, greeting text, and with a reply, it rings my whole sales team. And they might be at home and with their kids, whatever it is, but that has allowed us where even at 9, 10 o'clock at night, messages are getting picked up immediately, and it's letting us prospect around the clock, whereas before it was a real problem for our business. So, I would look at it from just an ROI standpoint. For us, cost per funded loan is critical, but at the same time, I think that's true across the mortgage space. You've also got to be paying a lot of attention to efficiency. There's models out there focused on nothing but cost per funded loan, and they're maybe buying spending $1 on a trigger lead. But if your sales team has to prospect for 3 days to find an opportunity, and you limit them where they're only going to be able to close a couple loans a month, your cost per funded loan might look good, but your culture is probably not going to be too great. So
there's a burnout.
Yeah, so I think that's always, you don't hear that talked about, I don't think, enough in our space, and I think it's really important. So we're always trying to we measure success by trying to drive up the average units closed. And I think not just bottom line, and so trying to help the existing staff do more rather than just bring people in to just drive total numbers. I think it's been a big principle for us. And I think it's been a key driver, long-term, for our success, is thinking that way from the top down. And it's not always the fastest route to bottom line, revenue per se, but I think it's the best way to, build a team and have a strong culture is your team knowing that that's the way you're trying to, define success.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think nurturing is the key, right? We all have one-time interactions and we try to prioritize those and make those as personal and nurture them through the whole process to make it the best experience possible. But then you can take that one-time experience and extend it. I can go back and say, yes, I had this amazing car purchase 5 years ago, but I can't remember the salesperson because they didn't stay in touch with me. So I think it's that combination of staying top of mind. So capturing their email, engaging with them on social media, retargeting them, staying in and just using those timely things that everybody's talking about to stay top of mind with that person. So that the next time you're not going to just buy one car, you're not going to do just one loan. So taking them off the market so that when I'm always going to do my loans with that same mortgage officer every single time, regardless of the trigger text, regardless of those things. I think that's how you make, a long-term investment in a client that makes you sustain through the slow times and helps you really build and accelerate through the fast times.
District.
I think it depends on your demographic who's searching for you, right? Like, there are components of each or segments of each of those that don't want to, right? And those who do. Like my mom will happily at 87 use a chat, right? But yet I know her sister wouldn't, right? So I think you need both. Certainly where we are now in the company I'm currently in, I think this is more of an opportunity, a huge opportunity for us, right? We've got some infrastructure things that we're working on that are enterprise driven as opposed to just sort of segment driven that need to be solved so that we can get much better at this. But yeah, totally agree with Todd there in terms of being in the conversation. I mean, whether it starts out as a service call that can become a remarketing opportunity, right? Or whether it is just a pure sales connection right at the beginning, how you add value. I mean, it's immediate. It fits in with that immediate gratification. So, but I also think you need agents on the other side who are comfortable and can also use that channel effectively, right? Because even though we all chat by phone or text by phone every single day, I don't know that it's really, I don't think it's instinctive, immediate that every single salesperson or service person will be able to use it effectively to drive the right metrics, right? Sales in the end. Personally, though, big fan, want to do more of it.